This is an absolute declaration of war, and the battle lines have just been drawn in blood, tears, and poisonous jealousy. We thought the storm had passed. We thought the devastating tornado that ripped through Fairmont Crest and the harrowing liver transplant surgery that nearly claimed the lives of Catherine Cat Richardson and Eva Thomas would bring peace to this fractured town. We were dead wrong. The medical crisis might be over, but the romantic devastation is just beginning, and it is brutally unforgiving. Everything has just changed, and the shockwaves are going to tear these families apart piece by piece. If you thought Leslie Thomas had truly turned over a new leaf, if you believed for 1 second that she had shed her villainous skin after Kat saved Eva's life, prepare to have your jaw hit the floor. The monster is back, and she is more vicious, more calculating, and more dangerously jealous than ever before. Let us set the stage for this explosive, mind-blowing confrontation. Picture the scene. Tomas Navarro, completely blinded by love, desperation, and the sheer terror of almost losing Kat, drops to one knee in the middle of the Dupree mansion. He publicly proposes to Kat in front of her entire gathered family. It was a massive, show-stopping moment designed to be a fairy tale. But while Kat is staring in sheer, unadulterated horror at the ring, feeling ambushed and suffocated by the public pressure, someone else is watching the fallout from the sidelines, absolutely seething with venomous envy. Leslie Thomas. Leslie cannot stand the fact that her bitter rival, the woman who holds the title of Ted's other daughter, is getting the grand romantic gesture while her precious Eva is left with nothing but a hospital gown and a recovering liver. The jealousy is literally eating Leslie alive. She looks at Kat and sees everything Eva does not have. In Leslie's twisted narcissistic mind, this is a zero-sum game. If Kat is winning, Eva is losing. And Leslie Thomas refuses to let her daughter lose to a Richardson. She's about to make her toxic jealousy everyone else's problem, and the fallout will be catastrophic. The tension skyrockets to dangerous levels in the sterile, echoing corridors of Garland Memorial Hospital. Izaiah Hawthorne, the loyal, devoted boyfriend who stood by Eva's side while she was knocking on death's door, is having a private, hushed conversation with Ted Richardson. He tells Ted that he has an incredibly important question to ask, something that will affect Eva's entire future. Leslie, lurking in the shadows like a predator waiting to strike, overhears this exchange. Her eyes light up with greedy, maniacal anticipation. She immediately jumps to the wild conclusion that Izaiah is about to propose to Ava. Leslie's mind races with vindictive joy. She thinks her daughter is finally going to get the ring, the spotlight, and the ultimate victory over Kat. She aggressively confronts Izaiah, practically demanding to see the diamond, ready to plan the wedding of the century just to upstage the Duprees. But Izaiah shuts her down cold. He looks Leslie dead in the eye and tells her no. He has absolutely no intention of proposing to Eva right now. The sheer humiliation, the crushing disappointment, and the fiery fury that washes over Leslie's face is a sight to behold. How dare he? How dare this boy string her daughter along while Kat gets a proposal? This is Leslie vs. Izaiah, and it is a brutal battle for Eva's soul. Leslie unleashes a savage, unforgiving ultimatum on the young man. She essentially tells him that if he is not going to put a ring on Eva's finger immediately, he needs to pack his bags and get out of her life forever. "Do not waste my daughter's time," she hisses, her voice dripping with venom. This is emotional coercion at its most sickening level. Leslie is actively trying to force a rushed premature marriage just to satisfy her own competitive ego and spite Kat. She does not care about Eva's actual timeline, her recovery, or Izaiah's readiness. She only cares about winning the optics war. Izaiah is now trapped in an impossible, suffocating dilemma. My heart bleeds for this young man. He loves Eva with all his soul. He literally cried by her bedside, holding her hand, begging her to fight the internal bleeding and live. But they are young. They have been through a massive, life-altering trauma, and they have not even discussed marriage. Will he tell Eva about her mother's toxic, manipulative pressure? If he exposes Leslie's vile ultimatum, it could shatter the fragile, newly repaired peace between mother and daughter. Eva just survived a near-death experience. The absolute last thing she needs is to find out her mother is using her romance as a pawn in a sick game of chess against Kat. But what happens if Izaiah refuses to bow down to Leslie's tyrannical demands? We all know exactly what Leslie Thomas is capable of. If Izaiah does not drop to one knee and produce a diamond, Leslie will absolutely sabotage their relationship. She will whisper poison into Eva's ear. She will manipulate, scheme, and orchestrate a devastating breakup just to punish Izaiah for defying her authority. Leslie will rip Eva's heart out herself if it means maintaining control over her narrative. The clock is ticking, and Izaiah is walking through a minefield blindfolded. One wrong step, and his entire future with Eva will be blown to pieces. But hold on to your seats, because the romantic carnage does not stop there. Oh no, while Leslie is waging a tyrannical war over a forced proposal, another silent, deadly battle is brewing on the other side of Garland Memorial Hospital. This one involves the ultimate high-stakes love triangle, and the emotional explosives are primed and ready. We are talking about the brewing storm between Shanice Johnson, Ted Richardson, and the formidable, undeniable Nicole Dupree. This is Shanice vs. Nicole, and the tension is so thick you could cut it with a surgical scalpel. Let us break down this devastating, heartbreaking scene. Shanice is standing in the hospital corridor, watching from the shadows as Ted and Nicole share an incredibly warm, intimate, and exclusive moment. They are laughing together, joking and whispering about Tomas's wild, premature proposal to Kat. To anyone else, it might look like two co-parents sharing a lighthearted conversation after a week of hell. But to Shanice, it looks like a jagged knife twisting directly into her heart. You can literally see the creeping dread and agonizing jealousy washing over Shanice's face. She is terrified. And honestly, I have to say, she has every right to be. Shanice is a brilliant, intuitive woman. She knows she is fighting a losing battle against decades of history. Ted and Nicole share a profound, unbreakable bond. They were married. They built a life. They raised children together. They just survived a catastrophic tornado together. And most importantly, they just stood side by side, holding each other together in the waiting room while their daughter Kat fought for her life on the operating table. That kind of shared trauma, that kind of deep-rooted survival instinct creates a bond that is practically invincible. How is Shanice supposed to compete with that? Shanice is already grieving the horrific, tragic death of her dear friend Derek Baldwin. She is emotionally raw, vulnerable, and desperately clinging to Ted for stability. But every time she looks at him, she sees his eyes drifting back to the woman who used to wear his ring. The fear of losing the man she loves is paralyzing her, turning her into a spectator in her own romance. And let us not forget the explosive, scandalous secret that Shanice does not even know yet. Nicole is not just making innocent conversation. We know the absolute truth. Nicole recently confessed to Dr. Kial Rollins that she has been having intense, undeniable fantasies about Ted. The romantic spark between the former spouses is not dead. It is a raging, unquenchable inferno waiting to be reignited. When Shanice looks at Nicole, she sees a woman who still deeply understands Ted. A woman who can read his mind with a single glance. A woman who shares his soul. Shanice is suffocating under the weight of her own insecurity, fearing that it is only a matter of time before Ted realizes his true home, his true destiny, is with Nicole. The psychological torment is unbearable. Will Shanice swallow her pride and confess her agonizing fears to Ted? Will she demand reassurance and force him to choose? Or will she let the jealousy fester and rot their relationship from the inside out? It is a ticking time bomb of emotion, and Shanice is holding the detonator. And what about Ted? Is he completely, hopelessly oblivious to the explosive love triangle forming right under his nose? Ted is so focused on his daughter's miraculous recovery and the sheer chaos of his family that he cannot see the emotional war zone he is standing in. He is blind to Shanice's pain and blind to Nicole's lingering desires. If Shanice forces his hand, if she pushes him too hard out of fear, she might accidentally push him right back into Nicole's waiting arms. It is a tragic, self-fulfilling prophecy waiting to happen. Fairmont Crest is a ticking powder keg of unresolved trauma, bitter rivalries, and toxic jealousy. Leslie is ready to destroy her own daughter's happiness just to score petty points against her enemies and secure a proposal. Shanice is paralyzed by the terrifying realization that she might be the third wheel in her own relationship, watching the man she loves slip away into the ghost of his past. And Nicole is standing on the precipice of reclaiming the man she never truly stopped loving, armed with a shared history that no one can erase. The emotional warfare is escalating to a point of no return, and there will be massive, catastrophic casualties. Every single relationship is hanging by a frayed, burning thread. Will Izaiah cave to Leslie's maniacal demands, or will he risk losing Eva forever to protect her from her own mother? Will Shanice confront Ted before Nicole swoops in for the ultimate romantic victory? The drama is brutal. The stakes are sky high, and the betrayals will be legendary. Don't miss what happens next, because this soap opera is about to explode. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and sound off in the comments below. Whose side are you on in this absolute madness?